Hi, this is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, and that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
Woo! You now rocking with One Nation Radio. Welcome to the program. James Boyd, Richard Latta, and a couple friends with the show for your wrestling needs. Shopping out the rest of the IWC. We gon' tell her how it is. We gon' shoot from the hip. If they putting out trash, we gon' rip from the biz. Make sure that you tweet us and you rate the shows. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Now let's get it on the road. Hey, One Nation Sports. One Nation Sports. One Nation Sports.
Welcome to One Nation Radio. And now here are your hosts, Rich Latta and James Boyd. And thank you for listening.
SocialSuplex.com. BWB, what's up?
What's good? It's Wale, and this is One Nation Radio. You already know.
Welcome to the February 11th edition of One Nation Live. James, what's going on, man?
Not too much. Just excited for the upcoming week. We're getting close to WrestleMania. And, you know, it means also close to time to get to New Orleans and everything. And Black History Month and Black Panther, NBA All-Star Weekend. Good times is here.
Yeah. It's been a interesting week in wrestling. A lot of stuff was announced. It's not listed on our list of topics, but Rey Mysterio and Jushin Thunder Liger just got announced for Strong Style Evolved in Long Beach. That's a pretty big match. It's a rematch from 1996's Starrcade event. These guys are a little bit older now, but you know, when Liger comes to America. When Liger comes to America, he don't be playing around. So your thoughts on that, James? Yes, thoughts.
Yeah, thoughts. Yeah, you gave me your thoughts. Yeah, man, it's a big deal for me as a person that like grew up loving, you know, obviously loving Ray. I have a special attachment to Ray. Like, I've always thought that he's the most spectacular to his time compared to his time, the most spectacular wrestler I've ever seen. So, you throw that in there with Liger, a guy that, you know. Is he the greatest? Is he the greatest Japanese junior ever?
Yes.
Or is it second behind Tiger Mask?
No, I would say it's Liger.
Yeah, like it's either
there's
him.
Only been one of those.
If it's not Liger, Liger's have been the most successful one since himself. So There you go. Like I popped during the New Japan Rumble when he showed up. It was heated when he got jumped too. Yep. So there's that as well.
Yep. So let's, March 25th, they will be facing off. It's going to be an interesting match, because Liger, he had his last appearance in the Best of Super Juniors last year, and it was kind of like how they did with Yuji Nagata in the G1, but they didn't let this guy win anything. So, with Liger, I actually was, recorded Keeping It Strong Style this week with Jeremy and Josh, and we talked about this, like, in depth, and it was like, I think Josh brought up the point, it was like, well, do you want to have Liger in like a 6-man or 8-man match that like means nothing, or can you just do something cool with him? And what cooler could you do with Liger at this point? So I thought that was important to mention. Yeah, that's a match that like anybody that's followed the wrestling world over the last 25 years is going to hear about and perk up a little bit at the very least. So like that's a really good. That's a really good pairing there. Very good pairing. So let's get to it, man. Ronda Rousey and Stephanie McMahon. It was written in the Wrestling Observer newsletter this week that the key reason for one of the key reasons for Stephanie McMahon, for Ronda Rousey being signed with WWE is to get Stephanie McMahon over as a mainstream star. James, when you heard this, like, what was your reaction to that story? And, some of and both sides of the fence, what do, when I see that thing, Stephanie McMahon has her own set of detractors. We've given her hell here. We've also defended her in the past. I don't know, man. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I'm pro Stephanie. I think that they overdo with her and she's overbearing at times where she just basically just
runs roughshod over all the baby faces like the last year or so until it was time for a Women's Rumble where she had to actually put over people she, got help, sprinkle some dust on them, sprinkle dirt on. So, obviously she serves a purpose. Obviously she's very talented at what she does. I think they go too far with it and they don't pay attention to the nuances of what they did in the past with her father to help ascend other guys into the stratosphere like a Rock or Austin or Foley. So they never play to that. They just play to she's the authority figure, therefore she is a star and therefore needs to be treated strong. The same for Hunter. Hunter gets his comeuppance far more often based on the number of appearances than Stephanie does. But everybody knows that she's very talented at what she does. I think people, it's kind of like when she shows up, there's still remnants of the authority, of course, and people are kind of like,
done with that shit.
They're kind of like, dude, yeah, they're just over that. They've taken breaks. She's taking breaks and been going for a while at times, especially this year. But she shows back up that terrible music, and she's still like, oh, she's just she feels like a drag on the show at times when she shows back up. Now, as far as them, there's the story coming out about they brought Rousey out to make her a mainstream star. Like I would say good luck to that. Like, who is the last mainstream star WWE's had?
I guess John Cena, but Cena's thing has come from being on top for essentially 15 years and then branching out into music and film and having other talents other than being a professional wrestler.
Right. So, they produced all of one of them in the last 15, 16 years. So, best of luck with that. But, if that means that she's going to, be involved in something that's high stakes and is entertaining, I'm for it because, we don't have anything that's really high stakes or entertaining as of right now on the calendar. And I don't know whether to blame that on the fact of, there's just a stagnation or they're just very scared to pull a trigger, or if it's a thing where, the triggers will be pulled at both brands' respective penultimate pay-per-views before WrestleMania, and they're still just biding time. But, it feels like we're in, a holding pattern right now, and we're in a weird place because after the what do you say? After the joy that happened for Royal Rumble, we felt like we're going to start getting stuff, and now we're 2 episodes of Raw and SmackDown past, and it's like, we got that nice little jolt, and then we still got to wait again, and it's kind of like you kind of feel like, can we go does every single feud for WrestleMania has to start literally in the last 4 weeks? Can we get something to lead us towards this that's not just long-term story building that builds towards a crescendo? Can we get a crescendo here now or something like that that starts something? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I get the Stephanie. I understand the annoyance of the Stephanie thing, but gotta be honest. We kind of know that that's what's going on. They've been the forefront of the company, the biggest stars of the company for 20 years now. It's not the Roman Reigns thing. It's been it's annoying that Roman Reigns is going to be the guy they coordinate over and over and over again. But you look at your recent history, that's going to happen. Either get with it or get rolled over. I prefer to take acknowledgement of that, find enjoyment in other stuff, when it's not good, and deal with that.
So I think the thing with it is I feel like the feeling of it's always about the McMahons and never about the wrestlers, that does exist. Yeah. And I think that's a major problem with this, because not only can Rousey come in and certify your next women's stars, with Steph, I guess, but she can actually be a star herself and also help Charlotte, Asuka. If you really want to commit to this, to the women's evolution thing is more than a marketing term made up in a boardroom, you can really do this in an organic nature. And I feel like throwing Stephanie out there is just like, I don't know, man. If Stephanie's the talker, if she's like someone like a central figure that's always kind of there, but she's not the direct star of things, kind of like how Vince was, you can do that. But if this is setting up for the quote-unquote box office draw of Ronda Rousey versus Stephanie McMahon, who the fuck wants to see that?
Well, I agree with you. My thing is, like, I thought it was. I always figured, like, when they talked about making her a mainstream star, that the point was what you just said at the beginning, which is like, use her as a vehicle to get over the other women eventually. Like, and also, like, along the way, like, I believe that, like, you put Rousey with Stephanie. Stephanie gets a bit of a rub by getting her ass whooped by Rousey, and then Rousey's still around the company. Stephanie is clearly not going to mess with her after she gets her arm broken or whatever else. And then, like, Stephanie comes back and starts, like, you know,
trying to put the
more or less
screws
doing kind of like what she was doing in the beginning of 2017. But actually, like, you know, if she starts getting physical with, like, the other women, that will help raise the other women's profile, like to get whooped by Charlotte or Sasha. Or, you know, even bring back some of the women in the Rumble that showed really good that showed really good show what they had left in the tank. So, like, there is not just because they think because they're using Rousey to make her a star doesn't mean like it's going to be exactly what happens in your worst nightmares. Like, relax, chill, at least give them a chance first, right? Like, you know, like, people talk about us, for example, or us as far as, like, being a negative, whatever. And I think most of us, like, we always at the end of it, after whatever we say, come to, let's see what they do. We always come to, let's see what they do. And then, like, we be like, look, this is the potential dangers of them doing this. Let's see what they do. Now, most times we say that, and then we end up right. Bad. Yeah, we end up being right. But, like, at least we're fair to be like, look, this is the dangers. This is the danger. These are the pitfalls, and this also, like, could be something they could do to actually change some stuff up in a different direction, try to shake some things up, and freshen in a positive step. So, and we always say at the end of it, we'll see, and we always wrong because we're not the bookers. We don't know exactly what's going on in their mind. We know we see kind of the, like, direction they're headed, but we don't know how it's going to turn out.
Right. Let's go to some of these comments.
So I would suggest everybody to calm down, relax, breathe, and see where it goes. Like, if it goes bad, you can kill them then.
So Kyle Moore says Steph is good, but she doesn't take enough L's. Simon said Vince McMahon maybe got 5 to 7 victories over Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stephanie and Triple H always look dominant. For example, Seth Rollins, Batista, Daniel Bryan, John Cena, the Andre the Giant promo from 2015, Charlotte Flair, and a bunch of other ish. I remember that John Cena one where she was like, "Who do you think you are to get to announce yourself? To announce your match for WrestleMania?" I remember that one. Simon also says Stephanie is a blip or a blight on the show as a character who is rarely wrong and never called out on her hypocrisies. Sergio Parra says at least Roman can still put on good matches. Nicholas Guerrero says if they do it, I would like a week to
real quick. Like, the last Stephanie match I saw was, like, you know, the second was one of the better matches that the women have done in the last, like, 3 years. So,
I mean,
like, I get it.
If you take out the Four Horsemen women standard, yeah, you can put, like, if you completely remove that, sure.
No. Like, even including that, I didn't say best, I said better. It's one of the better women's pay-per-view matches in the last 3 years. That match you had with Brie, it absolutely is.
I like the build up more than the match, but
I liked all of it. Like, but the build up was better than the match. But the match was so much better than it had any right to be because it's Stephanie McMahon. It is Brie Bella.
Yeah. So Nicholas Guerrero said, if they do it, I would like a week to week build, not just a couple of sprinkles of things here and there like Triple H has done in his last couple feuds. Simon also says WWE hates organic things if they don't align with their plans. Simon also said that's not saying a lot, James. It's not really saying much at all.
I don't know what that's in reference to.
I think that's in reference to the Stephanie McMahon Brie Bella match.
I mean, okay. Would you rather see Dana Brooke? What are you saying here? Like, I get it. Like, people are tired of her. I'm tired of her too. However, that's not where they're going with it. And I'm granted, like, look, if you're frustrated, like, absolutely vent your frustrations about it or whatever else. But at the same time, like, just know you can be frustrated and still have an open mind to whatever they can do. Like, they're not mutually exclusive things.
Right. So if you guys are watching this in the Facebook group, do me a favor, hit me with a like for this video, keep it, at the top and get more people tuned in. Next thing we want to talk about was Alexa Bliss, the feminist heel. So this was one of the more interesting things on Monday Night Raw. I have been out on the forefront of this Alexa Bliss is whack shit for almost a year or whatever. And I appreciate those likes rolling in, folks. Coming across the screen. Alexa, I think this is her first money promo. And this one, I don't know if it necessarily makes me want to see her wrestle or anything, but it makes me feel like there's something else there, and it makes me feel like she's actually cutting promos like grounded in some kind of reality, even though, you wouldn't ever essentially equate her with Brock Lesnar or anything. So, but in she raised a great point. So she came out there and was like, hey, this needs to stop. She tried to be a good sport, but what Angle is doing is wrong and completely unjust. Bliss went on and accused Angle of bad decisions and being against company policy on equality. She talked about how the title is on the line in the women's chamber match, while Brock Lesnar doesn't have to defend it in the men's chamber. And she wondered why she didn't get the same privilege. Is it because she's a woman? Angle basically said Lesnar defended his title at the Royal Rumble, and he doesn't know what Alexa is trying to get at there. Angle said the last time Bliss defended the belt was at TLC, which has kind of been a running gag on the internet. But then Bliss was like, that's not my fault. You ain't booked the shit, so how am I defending if you don't book? And then she wondered why. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, then she wondered why Angle is treating the men's champion different than the women's champion. And she asked Kurt Angle if he values Lesnar more than her, which is absolutely ridiculous on his face. But then she goes on and said Angle is being sexist. And then, from there, Angle was like, hey, it looks like Alexa Bliss is just trying to weasel herself out of the Elimination Chamber. So they flipped it to the audience, who is never going to agree with the bad guy in this situation, and said, would you guys like to see her defend the title in the chamber? And then Bliss talked about, she wants respect, and, she left the ring and whatever. But I thought this was a very good segment. What did you think about this, James?
Yeah, I think this was her best promo that I've heard her do. I would say the other one before them was when she first got into it, when they actually shined up Mickey for a month to be her challenger for that. I think that was TLC, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the best one since then. When she was calling her old woman, which is like, okay, whatever. I thought it was really good. I thought that it has some groundedness in truth, which is for a heel. I think either you have to be like either ridiculous or have a point.
Right.
You have to be one. Either you have to have something to stand on, or you have to be a straw man. One or the other. Mm-hmm. There's no in the middle where like wishy-washy. So I thought it was really good for her. And I don't want to see her wrestle, but whatever. If she's a person that, she's a person that has a great delivery, just they never really give her stuff to really do as far as her character work to actually get over the fact that like she's over as people say she is. So like they gave her something that people actually can really buy into. So. Good for them.
What do you make of them positioning feminism like as a heel trait?
Well, I mean, I like it about this as much as the fact that they did. I like it about as much as what they did with gender, which is like, oh yeah, like diversity and inclusion, like boo. So I have issues. I find some of that to be problematic, where they're making like, oh yeah, equality is a heel is something for heels, but. Yes. I mean, it's better than what they've done with her before.
Jesus, so, that's not saying. Look, that's saying. The I think they need more women back there. That's not really saying much.
Now that's not saying much. Yeah, exactly. Now that's actually not saying much. Yeah.
So Simon in comments says, Alexa says, "Do you value Brock Lesnar more than me?" He said, "That's like comparing filet mignon to great value hot dogs." Damn. Sergio said she's the female Miz. I don't know. I think Miz has a lot better matches, but
I would say
I've heard that phrase before.
Yeah, I've said that before. The problem is, like, Miz is a lot better than her. And, like, the mic, like, getting other people over, trying to get other people over, and also in the ring. Miz can go out there and have a really good match if you build towards it and do what Miz does well. We still don't know what Alexa does well yet in the ring.
Devlin says, "I don't think it's going to be a thing going forward." I assume he's talking about the feminism. He says, "I'll see where it goes, but to me it was just a one-time thing to get people talking about her again." Could be right.
Same here. Same here.
So
she could continue doing her same promo she always does, except like literally like 2 sentences brings up the fact that like there's unfair treatment for among women. And you know what would really help her out if she got clicked up with Stephanie.
Mm-hmm. So
that would really help her out if she got clicked up with Stephanie. Like, because right now it seems like they're going towards the Alexa and Nia thing. So like, Alexa don't even have a heater right now. Like, if she had a heater, or if she had somebody else that could like champion her, like help put her over, like it would be even better. But like, she's pretty much just kind of been on her own lately.
So Sergio says early Miz. Nicholas Guerrero says Miz is better in and out of the ring and a brand ambassador. And then Sergio says, before SmackDown Live, I saw a lot of hate for the Miz. That's correct. They weren't letting Miz really do much, and I don't know. So they let's see what we got next. WWE's Black History Month videos that they've done on Raw and their collection that they've put out. James, you're smiling right now, so I'm gonna just throw it to you, man. What do you think about WWE being the caretakers of Black History?
I mean, at least they're giving out a Black History thing every single week, right? And they've always done that. Just this year is the best year compilation they've ever done of like, if you include like the Martin Luther King Day segment as well. Like, you throw that in, and then you throw in what they've done as far as like the stuff they did when they were in Memphis, just going through that museum. Like, this is the best work they've ever done. I think a lot of it is hey guys, look at the progress we've had over the last 50 years, which is like, to a lot of people, like, that's a big deal. It's a nice reminder to let people know where we were 50 years ago. However, a bit of it seems to me like, look how far we've come as far as to like, yeah, look how far we've come. Also, like, can we also talk about like what Martin Luther King or all the civil rights leaders were talking about, like, beyond just getting to like black people being second class citizens? Can we talk to like where else we need to? Can we also talk about like in later episodes where we also need to go? Like,
yeah,
a lot of it is like self-congratulatory. I can't even say the word. There's a lot of
congratulatory
back thing. Yeah, I couldn't get out the word, but like a lot of it's patting themselves on the back, like, so like, get to that. I guess like to me, like I said to you, I don't know if I said it in the thread or if I said it to you personally, where I was like, they're talking about like the sit-ins and everything, and talking about like, yeah, they wouldn't let people sit down and eat it in white restaurants and whatever, and it was really, really segregated, and white people were not allowed, were didn't live amongst each other. And I'm thinking to myself like, yeah, I don't know if you guys know this, but like, it's been 50 years, and like white people and people still just about at the same levels don't live amongst each other still. So
yeah,
maybe Google, type in like Google, hop on the Google machine and type in like current day segregation or school segregation or de facto segregation to see what pops up. You might learn you something, but whatever. I mean, it's better than what they've done in the past. So
yeah,
I guess
in the past,
look, this is not saying much.
Yeah. Now, that's going to be the phrase of the day. So, with the ones that they've done in the past, they've just kind of been like little profiles here and there, and it's just like, oh, whatever, salute Bobo Brazil, different stuff like that. But I think they actually tried to do something with this, and they prepared for this. It wasn't just like something they just, reuse over and over again. Like, they went to Memphis a couple months ago. They talked about it when they went, and then, they're bringing it back and showing different portions of it and having your biggest stars show it that more than, and in the past they've been guilty of this. They've only had the black wrestlers talking about Black History Month. This one, they had Roman Reigns on there talking about it. They had Mark Henry, of course. They had Titus O'Neil. They had Seth Rollins on there. They had a couple more people on there as well. Alexa Bliss, I believe, was on there. And it was like, it's showing like, hey, you should probably listen to, like, if you're not going to listen to it, anywhere else, well, see what Roman says about it, something like that. So a guy that they've, propped up in front of their company or whatever. So, like, I can appreciate that. I didn't have a problem with it. I thought it was actually done very well. And, I
thought they were well done. I just think I think they were well done. I just think, like,
there's a lot of irony with it.
I feel like if you're going to talk about the progress that's been made, you also have to talk about what's left to be done.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? All I'm saying is, like, the work, like, you need to make an imperative that, like, the job ain't been done, it ain't been completely done yet.
Yep.
That's all I was saying. Like, but yeah, they have illuminated the fact that, like, yeah, there has been of what's been overcame, and I think that's important because the further and further we get away from, like, the Civil Rights Act, the Civil Rights Movement, the more and more we forget about, like, how absolutely terrible conditions were for brown people around this country. But you also need to highlight, like, there's still work left to do in that. I mean, but other than that, I think they've done a really good job. Because to me, other than this is the first year where I felt like their packages about this stuff have felt like have not been disingenuous. Yeah. That's what I say. Like, the other ones I felt like were just lip service, just platitudes, just something to do to kill time, as opposed to, like, actually showing, like, an appreciation, which is, like, we've done this how many years in a row?
Yep.
Talk about this.
We
like,
normally cover.
We
normally do like a big, like, segment on race and wrestling, like, in either January or February of every year. Like, and I don't necessarily think this is it, but this is just me wanting to kind of talk about it a little bit. We'll probably get to it eventually this month. I did write a column about, wanting to see, I'm ready for the next black WWE champion or whatever, but I think what up?
Amongst the Reddit crowd.
It went over well. Well, amongst the Reddit crowd, it was very popular. Got a lot of, like, engagement and feedback. And I didn't really get anyone that was saying, the standard lines of, like, you got a couple here, like, I don't care what color the champion is, and the da-da-da-da. It's like, all right, you missed the point. But, but it was my most popular column on Lures of Pain to date. So,
okay.
So they also released a collection last year. If you guys have been walking with us on our journey with One Nation Radio, I went on an absolute tirade last year about The Rock not being included in the Black History collection and kind of like the overall, like, the erasing of The Rock's blackness in WWE. And this year, I mean, he's on the collection, so I'm really happy about that. It's like, oh, okay, they showed him in a match that he had in 1998 with Triple H. Question from Nick. He said, who would you pick as the next black WWE champion on the main roster or NXT roster? I think you got to look at Big E, you got to look at Xavier, you got to look at Jason Jordan, and you got to look at Velveteen Dream. I don't think you can go wrong with either of those.
I mean, given where we are right now, before this surgery, I would have said Jason Jordan because they're pushing him regardless of how badly it failed. And, like, I mean, he has something in the ring. It's just like, that what they gave him was so bad. He's Angle's son. Like, that was death.
So,
that
like,
was just death.
Couple of things that they
once they get past, but I think once they get past that, like, he'll get somewhere. I think he'll get somewhere once he gets past this whole thing.
Sergio says no Kofi. I mean, I love Kofi Kingston, right? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if he can do the talking that is required. That can do it. I think he can definitely do the wrestling. I wouldn't be opposed to it, but he's just not in my top, section. Nicholas Guerrero says he would love to see Big E.
The bloom is off the rose with Kofi. Like if they're going to pull the trigger on Kofi, it would happen in 2010 or whatever else, not like now in 2018.
Yeah. With Kofi, it's like he may be the most decorated mid-card wrestler of all time, all things considered. Like, he's the longest reigning tag team champion in WWE history. He's won the U.S. title a shit ton of times. He's won the Intercontinental title a shit ton of times. I mean, that's not a bad place to be, but it just may be a case of where they missed it. The best thing I can say, but.
And he might be, honestly, like even before the New Day run, like he was probably a Hall of Famer even before then.
Yeah. If you're just talking about like if someone like I hate to do this, but if Coco Beware was a Hall of Famer, I mean, I think a great argument for Kofi Kingston exists for the Hall of Fame.
Well, I think you asked me the other day if Dolph Ziggler was a Hall of Famer, and I was like, well, yeah, because. And then I basically broke it down to the same like numbers of of the NFL's Hall of Fame, which is like whatever. But like roughly every year, about 2% of the or basically about like 2% of rosters make it into the Hall of Fame or whatever. So like if you do 2% of WWE's current roster, it leaves you roughly like 5 to 6 guys get in per year. So if you say that over a decade, like is Kofi one of the 50 biggest acts of the last decade? The answer would be yeah. Mm-hmm. So like that's where I come. That was my line of thinking of it with Kofi and Dolph Ziggler. So like yeah, he probably was, and then once you throw in the New Day stuff, like yeah, he might be a 2-time Hall of Famer on the low.
Before it's all said and done. The Celebrating Black History Collection, they've got some stuff with Bobo Brazil. They've got Ernie Ladd along with Muhammad Ali in there, and Jake Roberts. They've got Junkyard Dog. They've got Tony Atlas. They've got Coco Beware. They have the Soul Patrol. They have The Rock, as I mentioned. They have a really cool tag team match between the Harlem Heat and the American Males from WCW Saturday Night with one of the most captivating interviews I've seen from the Harlem Heat afterwards. I didn't see any New Jack on here, though. I was kind of disappointed by that. I love New Jack. We saw Jacqueline Hall of Fame profile her win the title. D'Lo Brown win the European title, which is always cool to remember, because he treated that European title like it was the world title, So, APA.
Didn't he win the European title in like 98?
Yes.
So this after Hunter already killed that belt, right?
Kind of. He was like, D'Lo Brown was like did his thing with the European title, and then he won the Intercontinental title with it. At one point, he had them both. He called himself the Eurocontinental champion. So he did it before Kurt Angle. Right. So they had, and then they kind of missed a big gap of time between some of the stuff from the 90s, and then they jumped all the way up to like 2011, which had Karma entering the Royal Rumble. They have the rap battle on there, James, which I think is like one of the best WWE segments they've ever done. They've got Team Bad, they got Velveteen Dream, a couple interviews with Ron Simmons and Booker T, different stuff like that. And Big E winning the NXT Championship from Seth Rollins, and of course, the Soul of Wrestling, which if you haven't seen it on Legends of Wrestling, it's one of the best things on the network.
Yeah, it's the one they put up like after the Hogan thing, right?
Yep.
I ain't forget. Like they had those. Yeah, like I ain't forget. They put it up like immediately after. After they had to get rid of Hogan, you're like, yeah, let's put up like us talking. Let's put up all these guys talking about black wrestlers.
No, I think it was that. And you remember that column that guy wrote that was like WWE's problem with race? I think it was after that.
Wasn't it basically talking about the fact there was 50 something or close to 50 champion or over the 60 something year history there's only been one black champion?
Yes.
Is that what the one you're talking about?
I think so.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember the article.
speaking of, no, I'm just kidding. WWE has a serious problem right now. They are playing with fire right now with John Cena. John Cena is kind of just showing up, doing his thing, being very cartoonish, not acting like a real person at all. I don't know if this is part of the gimmick right now. He's supposed to kill time until The Undertaker shows up and challenges him. Because I think we're headed to a situation with Cena where he's consistently saying, all I want to do is make it to WrestleMania. All I want to do is make it to WrestleMania. And I think what's going to happen is he's going to find all roads to WrestleMania blocked. Like, he's not going to win the Elimination Chamber. There's going to be no real opponents. He's going to come out there and essentially try to, like, quit or just say, I guess I won't be at WrestleMania. And all of a sudden the gong is going to hit, and we know how this works already. But what do you think is going on with Cena, like, aside from that? As far as, like, when we say they're playing with fire right now.
So, like, do you remember, like, 1993, when, like, Hogan had turned 40, and Vince was talking about, like, yeah, we want to phase you down, and then Hogan left for WCW. You remember that?
Yes.
So, like, I look at that, especially, like, you look even 93, where, like, if I remember wrong, wasn't Macho Man doing commentary for WrestleMania 9 and stuff and Raw?
And he should have been wrestling.
Because he had turned 40 as well, right? So, like, and also, well, Macho Man also wanted to get off the road, but, like, same thing here is, like, Vince always had this weird thing about once you turn 40, like, you look bad on TV, this, that, and the third, and it's time to start some new guys. That's what kickstarted the new generation. That plus the steroid scandal.
Yeah.
So you look now, and it's like you saw Goldberg at 50. You see Undertaker still come out once every so often. You see Lesnar lording over the entire roster, and everybody else they bring back. Whether it's Vince's son or whatever else, Triple H, the game, who seems to be reversing in age, of course, but whatever. That's neither there. So you think about it, where like we've never had a top guy like stay, or I guess it's officially past the peak now. A top guy, like the top guy of the company, stay past the peak as opposed to leave or do something or take his ball and go home or whatever else. And now you see it, and you're like, oh, my God. Like, as much shit as we give Hogan for, being this political monster and always having to get his win back and, like, whether he puts over Sting or he always has to make himself bigger, put himself over regardless of whatever else, you see it now where, like, if Hogan had stayed, this would have happened to him. If Austin had like just decided like, yeah, I'm gonna let Brock beat me on TV, this would have been his fate. Like same thing when he was fighting Scott Hall at WrestleMania 18. It was like this dude would have definitely been phased down, and this dude would have been turned back into a mid-card geek if he had stayed past his prime. And
so we're finding out why dudes leave essentially while they've been on top.
Yeah, it's like, all right, done it all. Why stay here and just stick around just for the love? What's the point of that? Like. And you look at what since he lost the title at Elimination Chamber, which he never got his rematch back for. Actually, he did in a 3-way, but like whatever. He never got a proper rematch. You look at what he's done, and it's like he's still important. Like, but he's important to the fan base. But like they do not like. He comes back and it's like, oh yeah, we got something for you. Is it important? It might be something, but whatever. Like they give him opportunity as opposed to an erection. And they're playing with fire because like wins and losses matter, and this is proof of it. And he did a whole lot of winning for so long. And now he just comes back and takes L's, and it doesn't matter.
He shrugs them off.
It serves no purpose. He just out here just getting pinned, and it's like, all right. Like, we talk about this all the time. Like, you go back to 2013, and they never knew how well they had it when they had 3 top baby faces that the crowd all cared about. And right now, like, who's the most over baby face in the company right now?
AJ Styles?
From a crowd perspective.
He's on SmackDown.
Who's on SmackDown? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, on Raw, who is it? Strowman, right?
Yeah, I think you gotta go with Strowman, yeah.
Who's after that? Who's even close to Strowman after that?
Like, as far as, like, who's beloved by the crowd? Jesus. Maybe Seth Rollins, but I think Seth Rollins is, like, kind of like, he's got his own set of problems right now, as well as Finn Balor.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like, all right, man, like, you don't want to, in my opinion, I don't think you want to necessarily, like, treat that, like, mistreat that, not appreciate what John Cena is still. Like, you need to get it while it's getting still good, because, like, he's 40. He's not nearly the level. Like, it's almost like the AJ Styles match happened, and like he just like went back to being like the wrestler he was 3 years ago, as opposed to what he was from 2015 to 2000 to the very beginning of 2017, which was like a really good main event wrestler, a big match wrestler. It I mean, I'm sure it's still there, but I have not seen it yet since that Royal Rumble.
Yeah, it's been like almost a year, and I think like Cena always has a set of detractors that's ready to like run him down at any moment, and they've kind of had to shut up for two years or so. But with this slippage, they're coming out with the claws out right now. I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really worried with what's going on with Cena with his star level. And granted, like all it takes is one money program and one money promo, which he still can absolutely do. And then like the direction changes, but like it's been it feels like that Roman Reigns and Cena thing, like that before that match, that seems so long ago.
Yeah, man. But yeah, the SmackDown Live Top 10. Now, this was absolutely ridiculous, James. If you guys have not been paying attention, they are unveiling a wrestler voted on, quote unquote, list of the top 10, stars on SmackDown. This is supposed to be used for Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan to gauge opportunity, future title opportunities, and, whatever type of bullshit. I think it's actually like a storyline rather than a list that they need to take serious. But the way it's been presented so far, it's been quite strange. So, nonetheless, let's get to the list. Number 10, Ty Dillinger. Woo! Number 9, Randy Orton. Number 8, Becky Lynch. Number 7, the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Usos. Number 6, The New Day. Number 5, the WWE United States Champion, Bobby Roode. Number 4, Naomi. Number 4, Shinsuke Nakamura, the winner of the 2018 Royal Rumble. Number 2, the SmackDown Women's Champion, Charlotte. Number 1, WWE Champion AJ Styles. James, shoot holes in this whole thing.
Okay, so, like, if I remember correctly, the week before when Brian said they were doing this list, this is from the locker room voting on who they think are the top 10 guys most deserving of opportunities in the future, and the catch is that wrestlers cannot vote for themselves. So, one, there's no heels on it, which is bullshit, because obviously evil motherfuckers would link up and come up with a way to put themselves over or find some way. Like, there would be heels that would crack this list. And I think eventually it was serving some purpose for heels politicking backstage to actually basically whip up some votes. So, you have that. And then you also have the fact that, like, future opportunities. Well, number 2 is Charlotte. Number 1 is AJ Styles. And number 7 is the Usos. They're the champions. What opportunities could they get? They already got opportunities around their waist.
Yes.
So that didn't make any sense.
I think the only way for them to come back with that is next week's list has to be all heels on it. So it has to be like a literal joke the whole time. You're like, all right, man, what's going on? And then they got to essentially get to the bottom of revealing people's votes. And I think maybe you get something out of that. But on its face, it just looks absolutely ridiculous. Ty Dillinger at number 10, while he's not won a damn thing. He can barely get on TV. Nope. They don't want that man on TV because they're afraid he'll get over right now. Let's see. Randy Orton at number 9. I mean, have you seen Randy Orton lately? I don't know. No Rusev.
Well, he has to be not. Well, here's the thing, right? If Todd Dillinger is 10, Roman Reigns, then Randy Orton has to be before him, or has to be higher on the list than him, right?
I would assume so. TV. Yeah. Naomi all the way up at number 4. Naomi all the way up at number 4. I can't remember the last Naomi match I've seen, like as far as like a singles match, and I don't know. It's pretty weird. The New Day over the Usos, yeah, they've dug themselves. I don't, Craig Mack once said, "You won't be around next year. You won't be around in 5 weeks." That's what I feel like is about to happen with this.
That will not last. That will not last a month. No way. Ain't no way.
Yeah. So
do we want to talk about the thing that pisses off the most this week?
Oh yeah, that's next. Okay. That's next. So there was a WWE United States Championship match this week between Rusev and Bob Roode, and Bob Roode defeated Rusev clean in the middle of the ring. Yes, the guy that has the top selling merch. The guy that has the crowd chanting for him, not in his segments. The guy that the crowd is like going apeshit over right now. Rusev was fed to Bobby Roode, who was fed to Randy Orton. And our whole comment section, and thank you guys for chronicling this in real time, because we screenshotted this just to show the anger of everyone in the comment section all together. It was WTF, what the hell are they doing? This is stupid. Just everything just murdering them. James, when you saw Rusev get pinned by Bobby Roode, what was your reaction?
My reaction was exactly what I posted in the thing before everybody else. It was fuck off, fuck right off, which is, it was stupid. Like, it's a mid-card belt. It doesn't draw. You don't have to take it on the road to draw anything. It doesn't, it's basically just, a paperweight. So, if the belt doesn't mean anything right now, and Bobby Roode, has been completely underutilized his entire time on the roster. They brought him up with no direction for him to do anything, and Rusev got himself over organically. Like, maybe, I don't know, run with it. Like, what does it cost you to put a belt that doesn't draw, that's not supposed to help you draw, and put it on somebody that's popular? Like, I don't understand what's the big deal about that. Like, it'd be one thing if they had plans, Bobby Roode. They clearly don't.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, is he going to, what is Bobby Roode doing at WrestleMania?
It looks like, a Randy Orton match is kind of far off. Like, I don't think that's the match or anything, and I feel like that match might happen way before WrestleMania, because WWE has shown they're not really about saving matches, except like 2 of them that they've saved this year. Because everything else is fair game. Like, Randy Orton versus Bobby Roode on Smackdown is just the same as Randy Orton versus Bobby Roode at WrestleMania. They literally have the same value.
Yeah, like Bobby Roode versus Randy Orton does not main event a SmackDown. Like, it's like the 10 o'clock segment.
Or the 9 o'clock segment, you mean?
Yeah, that's what I meant, sorry.
Yeah. And with them beating Rusev and then Orton sliding in for the RKO, it was almost like this whole thing just got fed to Randy Orton.
Yep.
Bro, I'm ready.
If they have a three-way and it's something, like if they have a three-way and they find something to do with Orton, cool or whatever else, but right now, nah, man, like they should have went with Rusev. And it's typical, it's WWE's fashion. We're like, oh well, he's a heel right now and he's super over like a babyface, so we're going to turn him face. So we can afford to beat him right now because once he turns, it won't matter. Which is like,
it's like just keep him a heel and start letting him win. Like like you don't have to turn the guy. Like I don't know, man. Like
remember how we always talk about how they learn how like they look at their history and they learn the wrong things.
Yes.
Where like it's almost like they're dogs. They're gonna watch the Shawn Michaels matches, so everything is like the best of Shawn Michaels stuff, as opposed to like any of the like the smaller things that made him great. And like if you look at it, where it's like, yeah, we did a whole bunch of crazy shit during the Attitude Era, and it made Austin, Vince, and The Rock gigantic stars. And it's like, dude, like so they're like we should do the same as that thing. Like, nah, bro, like that's not what happened. You had 3 stars, therefore you guys actually managed to become successes in spite of the bullshit y'all did. So, like, you look at it, it's like, well, you know, we had Austin, who was a heel, and we beat him at WrestleMania, and he became the biggest star in the industry in the short term ever. So it's like, all right, so that means we need to beat guys right before we turn them. Like, nah, man, you killing people. Are you killing people's jets off?
Yeah. Yeah, poor Rusev. The dude, everything he does gets over, and this was his reward. So, always remember, don't ever try to get over by being the best at what you do.
Like, I would just like for somebody that they have big hopes for, or they have big plans for in the future, to like them to like let them sort of like, you know, figure their way along the way while keeping a steady push, and then like see what can happen. Like who had besides? I mean, Strowman was clearly a win for them. Like they created Strowman, absolutely, and Strowman got better in the ring, so that also helped as well.
Yeah.
But like the list of guys that they quote unquote made is so small since we started watching again, based off of like what they did and what they did alone got them over. Like, what is it? Like, it's them, it's Strowman, it's Ryback. There's got to be other people that I'm just blanking out on. But for the most part, like, most of the guys that get over is like, they did the work. So, like, let them do the work.
Oh, man. So, what do Seth Rollins and Finn Balor do at WrestleMania? It seems like Seth Rollins is like cursed right now. Seth Rollins, everybody that gets linked up with Rollins is dropping like flies. Seth Rollins is kind of confused. He's wearing these Harlem Heat pants. He's just kind of lost. Like, it feels like he's not really a main eventer anymore. I think he could use a change of scenery. Like, jettison that man to Smackdown immediately and make him a top star again. That year spent in the tag team division, this can be like the fork in the road of his career. Like, either right now he's going to go back to main event status, or he's never going there again, I feel like.
So I was listening to Chad's podcast this week, and I listen to Chad's podcast almost every week.
What up, Chad?
And he had mentioned that he thought that he said that there's always been, even he's not concerned about Seth more or less because Seth has always had a direction. They've always had something for him to do, which is kind of like, yeah.
Know what that means?
Sorta.
Look, you know what that means?
Like,
it's due. That bill about to come due the wrong way.
It's like, yeah, that is true. However, like, the direction they've had for him, well, one, I sort of disagree because, like, after WrestleMania, there really wasn't nothing. They really had no direction for him, really. They lucked into by the time they got to the summer, they lucked into it. Like, they had the Ambrose thing, but like, there was like a month there when he's fighting Bray Wyatt, and it was just like, oh my God, this is not the direction. This is just bad. And he's in the danger zone. And then luckily he was able to redeem himself with Dean. But you look at it now and it's like, yeah, I mean, for the most part, he was right, but just because he has a direction does not mean that it is like headed in a direction towards really compelling television or really compelling matches you want to see. So, I don't know, man. Like, he's in a rough spot. Like, I don't know if he's gonna, like, unless he gets put with Miz or something else. Like, I don't see what match he has. Like, what match do you see, like, for WrestleMania?
Like, Seth Rollins is in a weird place right now. You could put him with, and this is gonna sound awful, you could put him with Elias. You can put him with... I definitely don't want to see him near Cesaro and Sheamus ever again.
Same here.
You could put him with Strowman. You could put him with... But I feel like Strowman's spoken for.
Same here.
It gets real rough on that Raw side. Like, I think this is the perfect year for WWE to break out their patented, hey, we'll do a Raw versus SmackDown match, and then Seth Rollins be the Raw representative against someone on SmackDown. Like, if, Nakamura and Styles are spoken for, maybe, and they've done Owens and Rollins a bunch. They've done Zayn and Rollins on TV before. I don't know, man. He's
Remember when they had Seth Rollins? Remember when they had Seth Rollins' job put over Sami Zayn because he lost the music?
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes, I do.
And missed out on the Royal Rumble, and they showed up to take over like a fucking geek and got escorted out by the police after doing without busting so much as busting a grate.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Like you're like, gee, you look at that and you're like, gee, I wonder why we're in this situation with Seth Rollins right now in 2018. Who could have possibly foreseen such a thing?
Bro, like, they've done a lot of, like inadvertent damage to Seth Rollins. Comment from Layla. She says, never Cesaro and Sheamus. I think Miz for the Intercontinental title would be good, but there's got to be a build-up to that feud. Poor Seth Rollins.
Yeah, I mean, given what we've heard about the card where there's, like, people have heard the Braun Strowman Miz thing, it's like, that does not sound like a good idea. Hopefully, Braun Strowman gets removed out of that situation and put into the Rousey situation where it's Rousey and it's Strowman versus
match.
Stephanie and Hunter.
Like, Strowman being, like, the biggest gimmick there is right now, like, he needs to be in, like, the biggest gimmick match possible at WrestleMania, I think.
Right. And also, like, you can be like, look, we did this mixed match challenge all the whole way around to get Braun Strowman ready for the mixed tag match.
Yes.
At WrestleMania.
Yes. That man's a mixed tag champion out here on you boys. Oh, yes. Man.
Look. You know how mad people would be if you be like, yeah, see, y'all said WWE never does any long-term booking. Tell me why Strowman was a mixed tag champion or whatever, and then he went out there and did the same thing at WrestleMania. See, they was playing this for months.
Somebody will say it. Somebody will say it. I promise you.
I know.
Oh, man. Yeah, man. Last thing I want to talk about today is the resurrection of 205 Live. James, have you seen the Roderick Strong versus Hideo Itami match?
I have not. I heard that it might be one of the best matches on WWE main roster in like a year or so.
It was probably the best match in the history of the 205 Live show.
Really?
Yes. Like, it was on another level. Like, as far as, like, just the near falls, the suspense, the moves, the hard-hitting nature of everything. Like, it's right up there on that Neville level that we used to talk about.
Wow.
Yeah, and this has been like a part of a renewed focus for 205 Live ever since, Enzo abdicated the championship for reasons that we won't get into anymore here. They had the announcement of Drake Maverick being the GM, and Daniel Bryan also opened the show a couple weeks ago, and the whole thing has been like a big I'm sorry to wrestling fans and, got people that like 205 Live and then saw it go into the toilet with Enzo at the helm. It's been like, hey, let's get back to what everyone liked so much, which was the CWC, which was rated extremely high, which was critically acclaimed. They're going to do a tournament now where the culmination will be at WrestleMania. We don't have the full bracket, which is like something that they're probably they're probably trying to get someone in this tournament that will surprise us. But what they've done so far is use people that we don't expect to normally, or we didn't expect to show up. Like, we saw Tyler Bate in one round. We saw Roger Strong in this one. And these guys have reset everything, and I think this is the perfect way to go about it. And I still think they have a long way to go, like, as far as, like, what happens after the tournament. But I don't think you can, like, do it any better than they've done it thus far. James, if there was somebody that you would go ahead and give the nod to as the next Cruiserweight champion and kind of, lead forward with this, like, who would it be? Or is there someone else in the, that you might put in the tournament?
Well, there's somebody that I would absolutely make the cruiserweight champion. The problem is he should probably be the NXT champion right now. So it's like, can he do both, or can he or if he has to choose one or the other, I'd rather him be the NXT champion. So like, I'm not even going to go there. But yeah, I think that they're, like you said, I think they're purposely like not showing you the brackets so that like they can keep like bringing in surprise people. So like, they have a match or whatever. And then, like, they be like, okay, so next week's matchup is, I don't know, I don't want to say Rey Mysterio, but somebody that's of that ilk, where it's like somebody that's coming in for like a match or two, or for a little short run, be like,
right,
this person versus Davari or whatever. To actually pop the rating for like a week to be like, oh my god, do y'all know that like freaking Liger's going to be here for like 2 weeks?
Uh-huh.
Do y'all know that? So I think that's a bit of what it is. But, like, it would be nice to see brackets. Like, you could still show brackets and just put up, like, question marks in it.
Right.
Or whatever else.
But they haven't been named yet.
That would be cool.
Jason?
Yeah, just only announce it, like, the week on the episode, like, before to be, like, to build anticipation for the next show.
Jason Barksdale said, 205 Live is becoming NXT Light, and I'm okay with that. I am with you. I raised the argument last summer. I was like, and this was, like, during a really, like, bad period of main roster television. I was like, is there any downside to trading out NXT and 205 Live, those 2 hours, for the 5 hours of Raw and SmackDown every week? Like, how do you lose? And I think we maybe end up, if this thing goes, and, it has been announced that Triple H is now essentially the booker of 205 Live. He's taking control from Vince McMahon, and that's what I think everyone's getting excited about, and it's felt radically different over the last couple weeks. What are your thoughts on that? And I think that has to do with the XFL stuff, but we'll see.
I don't want Triple H spread too thin. Like trying to run two shows, having to travel back and forth. I mean, even though like, we know he's there often anyway, but like I'm concerned about doing too much, and also that like he's doing two different shows, two separate rosters. A lot of guys are coming in from NXT into the Cruiserweight show. Like I don't know, like I think he can do a good job. I just worry about being spread, one guy being spread too thin, which is like what we have with Raw and SmackDown with Vince. Where like you have one guy that's in charge of 5 hours of television. Now, granted, like being in charge of 2 hours of television, and one of them is pre-taped for like a month ahead of time. Like that's not necessarily the same thing, but that's burning a lot of candle wax at the same time.
And they hired Jeremy Borash for NXT, I believe, to assist Triple H with NXT. So it'll be interesting to see how it all breaks down. But I feel like 205 Live is in the best place it's been, at least since the middle of last year with the Austin Aries and Neville feud. I would probably say I think you got to look towards Cedric Alexander as a favorite. I think there's one other person that's coming in, and that's why they won't show us the brackets. I'm convinced. Roger Strong is definitely going to look good in this whole thing. I'm quickly becoming a fan of his, and it took me a while with Roger Strong because he seemed like just real regular, but I saw it. And Hideo Itami probably had his best match in the company on 205 Live, and I've given Hideo the blues from like day 2, essentially.
So wait, it was better than the Aleister Black match from Brooklyn 3?
Yes.
Wow, that's high praise. Like I feel like that's
it's either as good or better. Like, but okay. It wasn't a strong.
All right, I'm gonna check that out.
Like it wasn't a strong style match. It was like an athletic striking match, I would say. Like it wasn't like, hey, you stand here, I stand here, we beat the hell out of each other. It was like, let's both show our strengths. We'll go back and forth. We'll make it dramatic. And then Roger Strong kind of picked up the upset win because, him being an outsider, we didn't know that they would put him over Itami like that. And it being the first round, they've really stacked this thing. So I'm excited to see where it goes. But, James, I think that's pretty much it for the show today. All the topics I have written down. Was there anything that you wanted to bring up?
No, I think we covered it all. We got everything.
Yep. So more Elimination Chamber talk as we get closer to the event. I didn't want to blow it all out now, but Elias did get the victory over John Cena and Braun Strowman. And that, I don't know why, but they just went ahead and did that.
They pinned John Cena so that Elias can come out last, as opposed to, just having him come out last. Jesus. So make sure you guys check out all the other shows on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Keeping It Strong Style, which I will be featured on their show, dropping on Tuesday. The SMC Podcast, as well as the Ricky and Clive show. We're looking into getting these suplex shirts popped off, so look out for those soon, hopefully. You can also check me out on the YouTube channel. I'm dropping these rap reviews for all the major events. The last one was Royal Rumble. I embedded it on the end of the show, the podcast version last week. Make sure you guys give us a rating and a review on this video if you're seeing that on YouTube. If you are seeing this on Facebook, just keep hitting us with likes and all that. We appreciate it. And also, thank you for the support for Lattice Layered series. I had a column drop this week where it was the best candidates to switch brands in the 2018 WWE Superstar Shakeup. And you can find that on Lords of Pain. But I think that's all. So anything before you want to bring up before we get up out of here, James? Nah, just ready for Black Panther. Been ready for Black Panther 4 years, and I'm ready now. So let's do it.
Us. And that's going to wrap it up, y'all. We out here.
Wakanda forever.